What do Cancer Research UK, the University of Birmingham and the Willow Foundation all have in common? All of these organisations have benefited from the knock-on effect and their efforts to raise money for cancer-related causes. As many of you know, our drop-down day in aid of the knock-on effect last term was a huge success, and Chris from the organisation is here to talk to us today about Rosie and our SMSC American Themed Day.
We'd like to thank you in advance for joining us.
No, thank you. Thank you for the fantastic amount of money you've raised.
Can you explain to us why Rosie wanted to start up the knock-on effect?
Yeah, Rose was diagnosed with cancer when she was 16, shortly before her GCSEs. She got a lot of help from doctors and people who wanted to help make her feel better as well as help make her better. She noticed that her parents and her brother and sister actually weren't getting any help, and she wanted to raise money to help organisations which would help people affected by cancer, not just those who are actually suffering from the disease.
Your role as a parent, how did that affect you when you were going through this as well with Rosie?
Well, it was really helpful to get involved in the work that Rose was doing. She was diagnosed in February, and she got into action in the June of that year, trying to start up her sustainable fundraising business. And obviously it gave us a distraction, something to think about, and it helped us because we could see her being very positive and very forward-looking.
How will the money raised be used to help others?
Right, as I said, Rose wanted to help the people who were affected. So she didn't want to raise money for cancer research. Great organisation. We should all raise money for cancer research. Go out there and do Race for Life, which she did. But she also wanted to help those little local organisations, which helped family and friends. She saw that her friends wouldn't get help. So she raised money so that she could give money to organisations like Hope Support, which I understand you've got a connection with here at the school, so that they can help. She also gave money to organisations like Little Princess Trust, who provide real hair wigs for people who are suffering from hair loss due to chemotherapy. She gave money to the Teenage Cancer Trust, which provides sort of teenage-friendly units in hospitals so that teenagers who are having treatment for cancer can have a teenage experience while they're in hospital, I guess. So that's the sort of area where the money is being spent.
How important do you think it is for people to hear about Rosie's story now, even though it was a relatively long time ago?
Yeah, it's 3 years now since she died. We've continued with the blog, and we've continued with her fundraising company, and we continue to get new people coming to us and saying, "Wow, it's such an inspiring story. I read this and then I went off and raised some money. Here's a check," or people saying, "It's such an inspiring story. My friend is suffering from cancer, and Rose's approach has really helped both of us." So her legacy in terms of the TV programs, in terms of the archive of the blog, in terms of her story still being around, still appears to help people, which is fantastic, because of course that also helps us.
Do you have any plans for the organisation for the future?
Well, it's strange. We've never really planned anything. Rose did a lot of planning in the early stages. She was very, very clear about setting up the knock-on effect. But what we've become is just a sort of a focus. So people tend to do their own fundraising and then get in touch with us and send us a check, knowing that we will then be able to direct it towards organisations which Rose would have approved of, which is what we're tending to do. So rather than having any great strategy, we're just continuing to do more of the same thing and sort of trust in a wider network of people to continue to contribute.
If you had to describe Rosie in 3 words, which 3 words would they be?
The 3 words that are on her gravestone are beautiful, brilliant and feisty. Rose was clearly a beautiful person. She had other people's concerns foremost in her mind throughout her illness, and when she knew that there was nothing anybody else could do for her. Her concerns were always about me and Joe and about her family. She was clearly brilliant. She, despite being in hospital for much of year 11, she did very well at GCSEs, and she went on to go into the first year of sixth form, and she created this brilliant blog and this brilliant company. And any of her teachers will attest to her feistiness, as will anybody who met her. She was never somebody to go quietly. So she relished a strongly worded discussion, let's say, and didn't ever blanch from anything. So yeah, beautiful, brilliant, feisty.
Was there anything that she ever pushed herself to do, knowing that she was ill?
She didn't really need to sort of push herself. It was in her nature to just sort of get on with things, which is what she did. And her strongest characteristic was her stoicism. She was very stoical about her situation. She didn't accept it. She fought against it, but she did it with great sort of dignity and strength of purpose.
How did you feel when Miss Anderson got in touch with you to explain that we'd like to help?
Oh, it's fantastic, isn't it? We're hugely grateful for the money, which we can assure you will be directed towards organisations which fit Rose's philosophy. But more than that, we're really pleased to be in a school where 500 plus young people now have been sort of exposed to a different way of thinking about illness and about being a survivor than previously. So it's really good to know that the message has got out there, but it's also really good to know that and to be able to show other people, young people care enough to be able to spend their time and their money on raising money for those less fortunate.
And what do you think Rosie would have said about the American Day that we held?
I think she'd have been really impressed. She was always on the lookout for a sort of an interesting approach to things. So I'm sure she loved the idea of a day of ultimate frisbee, or having bacon and maple syrup pancakes for lunch. Although that's not something that especially appeals to me. But yeah, she'd have been really impressed.
So we'd like to just say a massive thank you for talking to us today.
No, thank you for having me.
We're sure that we're going to carry on the work with the knock-on effect as well, and our designs will be of help to you when you're producing your t-shirts.
Brilliant. We're hugely grateful for that. Some fantastic ideas there. Lots of ideas that I'm going to steal and use in our produce in the future.
Okay. So if you want to know more about the knock-on effect, you can visit the website, theknockoneffect.wordpress.com, or if you want to do some fundraising yourself, you could go and visit the website as well.
And if you want to buy some of our fabulous products, theknockoneffect.co.uk.
Thank you.
Thank you.
EMC Student Radio.